You got 16 seconds before that shows up.
It's still circling. Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-da ba-ba-dum do 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 ba do 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 da do ba do ba do 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 bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum da 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 ba da 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 bum ba da da ba da 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 ba da 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 dun 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 dun. Hello, my friends. It's so great to see everyone. My mighties on this screen and my Facebook Live friends here. It's wonderful to see you. Bum, bum, bum. Good evening. Hello from Washington, North Carolina, Ohio. Hello from Ohio, Texas. Suddenly we love Ohio more than we ever have, right? However, I've always loved, I've worked plenty with Amish from Ohio, and my great dentist is in Ohio. And I have a couple of dear friends there as well. So, hello from New Jersey and Wisconsin. And where else? Everyone else from Chico. Hello, Chico. Hi, Michelle. Michelle, you're always with me. It's so wonderful. You're in all the study guides and all the on the study groups. You're with all our groups from the academy, from mastery. You're always with me. I just love it. You're a great team member and great companion. And so hello to everyone, Indianapolis and Fort Myers. It's Bonnie. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. Yes, thank you. Hi, Harry. Hello from Greensboro, St. Louis, Charlotte, Houston. Hello, hello. It's wonderful to see everyone. Well, good evening, everyone. We tonight are going to talk about breast pain. And I want to start out with a story. I know that people remember remedies better or methods better when there's a little story attached. So years ago, this lovely woman came to see me. She was probably in her, I want to say, 50s. She came with her husband, and she came because she had one condition that she was concerned about, and it was that she had tremendous breast pain in one breast. So I asked her if she had any sense of what was going on. Did something precede the pain? Was there an injury? Was she taking hormones? Just kind of give me, an idea of what's going on. And she and her husband were quite convinced that she had this breast pain as a result of a mammogram. She had gone for a routine mammogram, and the pain was right at that. Look at you, Melissa. And the pain initiated at the moment of the mammogram. As for those of you who have had a mammogram, you know how painful it can be. Um, I was going to go into something parenthetic here, but no, I think I'm going to stay on track with this story. So during the mammogram, it was quite painful. Both sides were painful, but only one side carried on with the pain after. As I recall, this pain, it was quite a while ago when I met with this woman. As I recall, the pain had been going on for about a year and a half, maybe, after the mammogram. It commenced at the time of the mammogram, and it carried on for a year and a half. She couldn't be touched. She couldn't hug. She couldn't sleep on one side. Um, She often couldn't wear a bra, but yet she needed a bra. And it was a real bone of contention. Her husband was very concerned. So she went back to the doctor who insisted, that's the word, insisted on the mammogram and said, there's a problem here. Well, what did the doctor want to do? Another mammogram. But she didn't fall for it. And she said that since it had been so long since this occurred, it was unlikely, it was palpated many times. It was unlikely that it was going to be any real concern, except that it was a concern because it was very painful. Let me say, quite painful. This was not low level. This was not on a scale of 1 to 10 about a 3. At certain times, especially when she was trying to sleep, it was about a 9. On a day-to-day basis, as long as no one touched her and nothing touched her on any level, it settled at around 6 to a 7, as I recall. So, yeah, medical upselling, you bet, Leanne. Medical upselling. Reminds me when I bring my car in. Yeah, well, it looks good, but you know what? You could use this, and why don't you get that? And you might as well get this too. It's upselling. So, there's a little side note to this that I'm actually kind of not first relation, but second relation related to the doctor that this client worked for. And he insisted that there was nothing that could be done. So she came to me. Some people, you're all guessing, aren't you? Such good answers. Look at you guys. My mighties. They're saying arnica, bryonia. Someone else said phytolacca. Oh, you guys are really incredible. Someone said Bellis paranus. I think that was further up. Yeah, Bellis, I see here. Elvira said. So this is what I did. I suggested that she use the remedy Arnica montana, 200C. And as I recall, it was quite a long time ago. I'm going to say this was a good 20-some years ago. Maybe even longer ago than that, maybe late, 27 years ago. And I suggested that a good way to take this would be Arnica 200 twice a day for a few days. I think I said maybe 3 days. Well, after 3 days, her husband called me and said, "What the hell? The pain is gone. My wife has suffered with this pain for years. The pain is gone." Could I have used bryonia? Could I have used Bellis paranus? Could I have used phytolacca? Yes. Probably the best one, if arnica hadn't acted, the next one that I would have gone to would have been Bellis paranus. Now, why did I choose arnica? Not only because arnica is a great medicine for pain to soft tissue, but also arnica is the medicine for injuries. And guess what that was? That was an injury to soft tissue. So is Bellis paranus, by the way. Bellis paranus is also a great remedy for soft tissue injury. So I want you to remember that story, not only because it can occur from mammograms, but how about a seatbelt injury? I've used the same method for when a woman has been in a car accident and the injury is from the seatbelt to the breast, or someone falls and lands on her breast, or someone is a dog jumps on them, some kind of an injury, a punch, any kind of injury to the breast, soft tissue in general as well. We're going to think of arnica first, or we could also consider Bellis paranus. I went for arnica, and it worked. Now, I ran into this woman because this was when I had a brick and mortar office, a practice, and I ran into her years and years later, And I said, so how did it go? I mean, I often don't hear how things go because people call up and say, I don't need to come back, so they don't come back. And I wonder, could it potentially have returned, even without an additional subsequent injury? Sometimes old injuries will start kind of coming to the surface again. She said it never came back. No, no, it's gone. I've never had it again. She said, and I went back to your somewhat related relation, the man that I worked for, and I told him what happened and that he knew that I was suffering. I talked about it all the time in the office while I worked there, but he never asked what it was, what the remedy was. My friends, it's very unscientific to not be curious. It's very unscientific to not look at what might have helped someone. But sometimes some are so entrenched in their way that it would be an embarrassment. In fact, I can see how he might have been embarrassed having her work for him all that time, and he couldn't come up with a solution other than telling her to take Tylenol. Um, and then I, a non medical doctor, came up with an answer that helped her so greatly. I think it's professional embarrassment, to be honest. So, let us just say that for an injury to the breast, we're going to think of Arnica 200 or Bellis Paranis 200. And we use it for a few days until we see a shift. Maybe 3 days wasn't enough. Maybe it needed a week in some people. Maybe it would need 2 weeks in some people. We do it until ignorance is a choice, says Melissa. I agree. It is a choice. It is a choice. Thank you for saying that. We use it until there is no longer a need to use it. She used it for 3 days because that's all she needed it for was 3 days. When the pain was gone, it stopped, or she halted its use. Beautiful thing. So we've got Bellis Paranis and Arnica, our top medicines for injury to the breast. Now, someone else brought up Phytolacca. I love Phytolacca. Phytolacca is spelled with a PH, PHY. Phytolacca. Love Latin, my friends. It's the language of science and intelligence. And so Phytolacca is also great medicine for breast pain. More often than not, I think of Phytolacca for a breast infection or a breast pain that's related to lymph nodes. The lymph nodes under the arms, the axillary nodes, if there's a swelling, if there's a tenderness to the lymph nodes and there's breast pain, I wouldn't give it a thought. I would instantly consider Phytolacca. And so Phytolacca is gorgeous in a 30 or 200. I more often than not favor 200s for these kinds of medicine choices. And so how would I use it? I personally would use it twice a day. Phytolacca 200 twice daily for when there's breast pain that especially is related to lymph node involvement. So it could even be the lymph nodes not axillary, not associated with the around the breast. But if the lymph nodes are swollen elsewhere, even inguinal lymph, it doesn't matter. Any lymph node anywhere that has a tenderness to it, a reaction to it, to touch, to palpating, and there's breast pain, slam dunk, most likely Phytolacca. Now, what if there is no lymph node association? What if it's simply breast pain associated with a breast infection? Then I would be thinking about Phytolacca as well. Now, there's another kind of remedy. Another remedy we would use for a breast infection, and I know you're all going to just jump right on this because I know you know your stuff, my friends. Phytolacca, good going. My son's dentist didn't want him to take arnica prior to surgery. Your son's dentist doesn't know, doesn't understand. He looked up the word arnica and doesn't understand what homeopathy is. If arnica is used the just before surgery and just after, it does wonders. I'm going to tell you that what your son's dentist needs to know is that he needs to look at what the plastic surgeons are doing. They're using arnica on a regular basis. Yep, you're right. Phytolacca, I associate it with lactation or mastitis. Joette, my friend got lymph node type breast pain post jab. Well, let's keep going here, okay? I'm not going to answer that specifically right now. Hold on. When there is a breast infection, one of the first things I think of is how painful is it? Is it hot? Mastitis can get very hot. The breast can get very hot. It can get red. Very painful. Very, very painful. And even so hot and so swollen, it can get shiny. I know that's hard to believe, but the skin is so pressed, so swollen. Thank you, Amanda. You've got it. Belladonna. Belladonna. Beautiful woman. Belladonna. Beautiful medicine for infections, certain kinds of infections, and particularly mastitis, breast infections. And it is it is specifically useful for when the breast is hot, red, and even shiny. Bella, yes, you've got it. If a doctor can treat in a hospital and they take insurance, their hands are tied. They will be kicked out of the hospital or lose kickbacks from insurance for shots. We have a doc not in the system. He can treat his patients without middlemen. That's a doc, my friends. Excuse me for veering off on that subject, but I'd love to hear from you folks. That there are these doctors with guts, spunk, and moxie who are willing to stand up against this. Unfortunately, there are not enough of them, but there are some excellent doctors out there now. You don't want a run of the mill. You don't want, let's see, how do we say, mediocrity. We don't want mediocrity. You expect more because you are more. You deserve the best medical care, not a mediocre, not someone who stays with the crowd and is afraid to actually treat you the way they should be treating you. Gut, spunk, and moxie. You got it. So, would this work for dairy cow's mastitis? You bet. Goat, cow, human, dog. Listen, my friends, this is across the board. So if the cow has mastitis and the teat is hot and red and swollen and even shiny and very painful to touch, super sensitive, it's going to be belladonna. And how do we use that? Oh, I love belladonna in a 30. I also like it in a 200, so either one. And how frequently would we use it? We would use it as often as it's needed. Now, what does that mean? If it's a mild version of mastitis, it's not that red and hot. It's just not, it's hot, it's red, but it's not horrendous. Maybe 3-4 times in a day. But if it's really bad, I love to use it every 15 minutes for the first hour. And then after that, go to maybe once an hour, once every 3 hours. And we don't want to overdo it. We're always looking for that tipping point. At what point, we ask ourselves, can we say that the condition, the pain, the suffering is being met by the remedy and it actually is needed at the same moment? At what point is it actually needed? We don't want to underuse and don't want to overuse. So using that basic idea, perhaps every 15 minutes for the first hour when it's very severe during an infection, and then after that, maybe every hour, maybe every 3 hours, and as soon as you see that every 3 hours is more than adequate, now you stretch it maybe to every 4 hours, and when you see that that's pretty adequate, now you go to perhaps every 6 hours and go on for a few days if necessary. Once it's over, just like that client, Once the pain is gone, we stop the medicine. If it returns, we don't say, oh no, it's back again. The remedy didn't work. No, we say, oh yay. We have an opportunity to use the medicine again. Remember, this is not synthetic stuff. This is the real medicine. This is the medicine we've been looking for. This will not cause trouble. This doesn't have side effects. It's not even very expensive. What? $10, $12, $15 for this bottle? This bottle can cure mastitis. This bottle can cure injury from a mammogram. For what? $15? That's the way I want you to think. So you see why you can't find good information on homeopathy in the conventional method by going on Google or Wikipedia, as my friends in India used to call it. So you don't want to use it too frequently. Don't use it just because. Don't think as though this is a supplement or a vitamin. In many people's minds, they think, well, vitamin C, 250 milligrams a day, that's pretty good. But maybe if I do it twice a day, that's even better. And maybe 3 times a day, it's even better still. No, that's not the way this works. We're always observing. Is the pain gone? Is the infection abated? Is the person no longer suffering? Then we back off. And if it returns, sometimes it does, often it does, then we come back to the repetition again and we put it to rest again. And if it comes back again, oh yay, because we have an opportunity. You see, using these medicines is not detrimental to the body. It's actually an opportunity to make good, to make the correction that our body needs. A gentle, God-given, simple, wholesome, non-synthetic, not patented, not related to pharmaceutical industry, motherly medicine, kitchen table medicine. That's where this belongs, at the kitchen table, where the family can talk and work it out. That's where this belongs. Thank you, Leanne. Intelligent medicine. God-smacking medicine. Any more adjectives? Okay. Let's go on to another medicine, okay? How are we doing on time? We're doing okay, and then I'll answer some questions. How about breast pain due to PMS, ovulation, and period? You got it. That is, let me first go on to this next medicine. We'll go back to that. And if I forget to do it, remind me, okay? My next medicine is Bryonia. Bryonia, Bryonia. I love it in a 30. Bryonia 30. What is this used for? This is for pain, often around ovulation, but also Bryonia is pain for young girls coming into menarche, painful breasts. How about little boys who are coming into puberty? There can be a surge of hormones that can cause pain in the breasts. Yes. It doesn't mean that they're in trouble, that they're getting into, too many hormones. It could mean that, but we're not going there. We're not going to try to figure out always the whys. Sometimes why can be useful, but the real question is, what is the medicine that is specifically for pain in the breast that does not have to do with an injury generally, does not have to do with an infection in general? In general, Bryonia is for that pain to the breast that has sometimes even no reason at all. I've had people ask me, they say to me, my breasts hurt. It's all I can say. I used to think that it was related to ovulation. I used to think it was related to menses, but sometimes it just happens for no reason at all. It can happen if I eat too much chocolate. And be careful of that chocolate, my friends. If there's any breast issue going on, we want to be very sensitive to overuse of chocolate, coffee, any caffeine, Coca-Cola, tea. Okay, so Bryonia is a sweeping medicine for breast pain when we don't really have an exact reason to choose it. But when it comes to breast pain related to ovulation and menses, there are two main medicines that I think of, and that is arnica, even though it's not from an injury. Arnica is a great medicine just for pain in and of itself, just pain. So, arnica montana is a good one, and bryonia is a good one. Okay. My son was the placebo sugar pill scoffing guy until it worked again and again, and then he would ask about remedies his Navy buddies needed. No, no kidding. That's the way you want to do it, my friends. Don't let homeopathy become a bone of contention between you and your family members. They will eventually come to you. Why? Because the pharmaceutical industry and the government are failing us. They have been, but they're failing us now more than ever. And eventually, people are going to be clamoring for, oh my gosh, they've been lying. Anyone read about the new information about the use of Tylenol during pregnancy has been shown to cause autism in the child subsequently? The medicines that we all think have been so safe, aspirin causes hemorrhaging, gastrointestinal hemorrhaging, and esophageal cancer. Yes. I'm not talking about taking an aspirin once a year or a couple times. No, I'm talking about that stupid idea of giving someone aspirin, baby aspirin every day just to protect from the potential of a heart condition. I got so many other ways we could do that. There's so many ways to do it without using synthetic, patented drugs that have side effects. All right, let's see if we can get to a couple questions. How do you fix the Tylenol autism link with homeopathy? You go directly to my course titled Mindful Homeopathy and start at the beginning and then concentrate on the autism section. Because it matters not what the cause is, my friends, generally. Sometimes we want to look a little further, but generally we start with what is the condition? Autism, we use the medicines that are specific for autism. The course is called Mindful Homeopathy. You simply go to Joette's Learning Center. What you use in place of baby aspirin, I will tell you to look at my article titled My Dad and the Dead Cardiologists. And it gives you the entire schedule that I used for my own father. That article is someplace still all over the internet, I'm sure. It was published in Wise Traditions many years ago, maybe 12 years, 15 years ago or so. My Dad and the Dead Cardiologists. You go, Tracy. You bet. Would love to avoid mammograms and ultrasounds for recurring breast cysts. You want to know more about mammograms? Check out Dr. Joseph Mercola's articles on it. Phytolaco, also great for cracked nipples while nursing. Yes, that's its own special pain. It certainly is. I know it's a very, very horrible pain. Let's see what else we've got here. Use Arnica 30 before and after mammogram. Same with dental cleaning. Yes, that's only if you submit to mammogram. Think twice about mammograms, my friends. Look, I am not saying we should not use these kinds of tests. There is a time and place for tests. It's not just because we're at a certain age. We save tests for when we don't know what is going on. We've tried the homeopathy. We've tried a little dietary change. We've cut out the chocolate. We've cut out this or that. And if something carries on in spite of that, then now we might go to an OBGYN who uses palpation instead of mammograms. Hard to find. And then if we have no choice, then we submit to a mammogram. Then we submit to a pap smear. Then we submit to a colonoscopy. You do everything else first. We don't, I mean, these methods are so invasive that they better have a really good rationale for their use. We are not Vasco da Gama looking to find the new world. What we're looking for is only if there is a problem, that's when we go there. Because I guarantee a problem is likely to be created by just checking and just because the rationale it being that you're at a certain age or we are at a certain age. The name of the article is My Dad and the Dead Cardiologists. People are talking about thermography. That's another, yes, non-invasive. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yes, thermograms are good alternative. Yes. Yeah, people are talking about that. It's good. You bet. Dr. Joseph Mercola, sign up, my friends, for his emails. He sticks his neck out for us. That's the way I see it. All right, we're going to go. We're a little bit past our time. I'm going to meet right now with about 60 students from my Gateway to Homeopathy group, one of the groups. I meet every Monday night. If you are not joining my Gateway to Homeopathy and you are kind of have an interest in that, I urge you to consider joining. Just go to my website, Joette's Learning Center, and or just go to Joette's Learning Center. You don't even have to go to my website. It will sort of take you there anyway. But join a study group, my friends. It's a great way to learn this. You can either start a study group or you can join one. And so with that, I'm going to say, God bless all of you. Mwah. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you next week. More to learn. Bye.